December of 22, Fromsoft released a free PvP-focused update called the Colosseum, getting PvP enjoyers very excited. And after nearly 2 years of the arena, I can safely say that it still sucks complete balls to this day.
This is worthless.
Y lo digo con más de 1000 horas de PvP jugadas en esta porquería. The Colosseum refers to arenas in Elden Ring used for nothing but PvP encounters between consenting players who want to rock their socks out in a mighty fisticuff of legend, and by that I mean 2 dudes flailing their arms like inflatable dummies. The concept was shoehorned into the game in order to appease the PvP side of the community, who complained about the lack of PvP-focused stuff. Before the arenas opened to the public, you would either need to invade, be invaded, or drop your red summon sign at a community-agreed dueling spot in order to be able to fight other goobers. I'm not going to delve deep into the invasions aspect of the game, since we already have a cajillion vids about it. But let's just say the hosts had a huge advantage over duelists, having the capability of doing things.
This is a real human being! What a fucking legend! Oh!
This was pretty fucking stupid, so Fromsoft shat the Colosseum out in order to flex tape the PvP issue into oblivion. The Colosseum provides 3 different locations that can be unlocked as you progress through the game and accessed through the Round Table Hold. These include the Limgrave Colosseum, the Caelid Colosseum, and the Lendel Colosseum. Each one will unlock different game modes you can participate in, as well as their respective combat location. Game modes include duels, where you fight another gamer until one of you kicks the bucket, combat ordeals, which functions similarly to duels but with a time limit, where the one who gets the most kills wins. And United Combat, where you can fight alongside friends against other people. There's also the option to include spirit summons in the fights, which allows for some very wacky situations. All of this sounds pretty neat on paper, right? Well, turns out it's implemented like ass. Básicamente esta poronga está atada con alambre. If I were to ask you the question, who can you be matched with when queuing up in the Colosseum? Would you know the answer? I mean, you could know it if you looked it up online, because the game doesn't fucking tell you how it works. The only way the community knows how any matchmaking interactions work is through extensive testing, which you won't do if you don't even suspect there is a matchmaking, as most people think they can be invaded by a max-level dude when they just started the game. Only people already interested and invested in PvP will know to look for it online, so the more casual part of the audience, which I would say constitutes for 90% of the player base, would only find consistent Colosseum matches during launch, when the hype for it was at its peak. Matchmaking in the Colosseum is based on the same formula used in Invasions. It's determined by your character level and by your highest weapon level ever obtained. The game has brackets for both, and in order to match with someone, both your level and max weapon level must be inside that bracket. The community, for convenience's sake, has a commonly agreed meta level where people stop leveling to focus on PvP, which is between 125 and 150, with plus 25 weapons. If you happen to look for Colosseum duels outside of meta level nowadays, be ready to be doing absolutely nothing at the Round Table Hold for hours, which elongates to eons if you want to play any of the other game modes with more than one person.
¿Qué haces parado ahí como un Bobby?
O sea, si todo lo que querés es hacer PvP fuera de nivel meta, es mucho mejor simplemente invadir o hostear en el mundo abierto en vez de estar rascándote las bolas mientras esperas en la mesa redonda como un pelotudo. At least if you're waiting for duelists in the overworld, you can activate the Taunter's Tongue and wait for invaders while you play the game. Same goes for the blue cipher ring if you want to play as a blue hunter. And there are generally many more gamers participating in overworld shit in comparison to the arena. We haven't even gotten into the technicalities of the game modes, and we already have 2 huge flaws with this thing. Shit only gets wilder from this point.
Whoa!
But not as wild as learning how to edit videos, because as an aspiring editor, you may find yourself overwhelmed by the myriad of expensive editing software to try. So if you're one of these beginner video editors, why not give a chance to today's sponsor, Filmora? Filmora is a powerful yet user-friendly editing tool available on Windows, Mac, Android, and iOS that allows for easy and seamless video creation. From the get-go, it solves the issue of needing a third-party screen recording software, allowing you you to record your screen and adjust the recording status at any time. When editing your clips, Filmora's speed ramping and motion tracking allows you to highlight your IGN 360 no-scope moments, slowing down and speeding up whenever necessary. But quite possibly, the best quality of Filmora would be the ease of use regarding video effects such as split screens, different zooms, and keyframing for impact or transitions, which can be further enhanced with the use of more than 500 stickers, more than 10,000 sound effects, and over 20,000 music resources available. And if that's not enough for you, you can generate your own stickers and music with the help of Filmora's AI features. Once everything is done, you can directly share your work to any social media of your liking in just a few clicks. So if you want to start to learn how to edit video, head down to the description of this video and download Filmora entirely for free. Thanks to Filmora for sponsoring this video. To further make the matchmaking even more repulsive, you'll only be matched with people who have the same options as you do. Sounds like a no-brainer.
Duh.
But when any location can only match with any location, instead of, any fucking location, you already know you're up for some hair loss. United Combat works in the worst way possible, as teams are defined by password matchmaking. If you want to do 2 versus 2 fights against other people, those other 2 people can't be random solo players. They need to be also a password match team of players, otherwise you just won't connect with anyone. The odds of gamers finding players in meta level are already low, let alone some casual gamer who's trying the Colosseum at level 284 with his +11 flail. But hey, at least the player limit is 6 instead of 4. So in theory, you could play with 5 more people if you have 5 friends who happen to be free at the same time as you.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
But seamless co-op is already 10 times better for that. But let's pretend you go for the simplest option. You pick duels on any location at meta level. In that case, yes, you'll most likely find people to play with. But it's just one duel with a max duration of 3 minutes and then you're back on queue. Oh, you'd like a rematch? Well, too bad, bozo. From a technical perspective, all 3 locations to fight in are essentially the same garbage, one giant round arena with no corners, with the exception of the Kaled one, which has 4 pillars to use for cover. The arenas are just so big that if one of the players were to be a sentient tumor, he could just run away with light roll all the time and stall until the time limit ends. But in the cases you don't run into walking tumors, unless you're exclusively doing it for your deep love of PvP, you have absolutely nothing to gain from the arena.
What?
No rewards, no incentives, no cosmetics, nothing. Just a badge that shows how much of your free time you use to punish yourself. Dark Souls 2 not only had covenants with different rewards for winning PvP matches, they also had a cosmetic aura to players who acquired a certain score in the arena. How did they manage to go backwards this badly? And I know you'll probably quote the PvP is an afterthought meme.
But Rennie, PvP is an afterthought.
Cerra l'orto. But instead of an afterthought, it feels more like genuine incompetence. There's no reason not to apply the same shit scaling they use for over-leveled phantoms and have everyone be able to fight everyone to increase activity all across the board. There was no reason to not make the arenas smaller and more varied, to have each have a sense of uniqueness, just like they did in Dark Souls fucking 2. There was no reason not to have rewards when winning matches such as upgrade material or hard-to-obtain items to incentivize PvP engagement in a safe and controlled environment where there's 0 consequences to losing. You know what? I take it back. Instead of incompetence, it feels more like intentional sabotaging. I wouldn't be surprised if the next game they shart outright doesn't have any kind of PvP because it seems they have a clear bias they're leaning into. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this shit. Nos revimos. Ciao.